So you are probably watching this video because you're contemplating attending a Toastmaster club. Even better, you're contemplating attending our club, Club 122. But if you're like me, you're probably laboring it a bit. Will it work? Is it a good idea? Am I sure I want to do that? I can tell you that it took me 1 year. I thought about it. I knew I should do it. I just never could get around to doing it. But I finally did. And that was 20 years ago. And I want to tell you, it was the best choice I ever made in my life. And so 20 years later, I've got a lot of data to tell you why that was such a great decision. And I'll just share the top 5 reasons why I think you should come in and visit this club. Okay, so first, and these are in no order, you've probably heard the old expression, the only thing worse than the fear of death is the fear of public speaking. How many out there can relate to that? Okay. Almost everybody. I was not one of those people. I gave a lot of speeches at work. I worked at Oracle for 15 years and gave speeches all the time. But I had one disastrous speech and developed a really bad fear of public speaking. I knew that I was hoping there would be some easy way out of it, but there really wasn't, other than just getting up and doing a lot of it. And I had left the company, so I wasn't getting a chance to do that anymore. I was on my own. So Toastmasters seemed like the perfect way to do it. Wow. I learned so much about how to prepare for a speech, strategies for not getting nervous, what to do if you get nervous, but even more importantly, how to harness those nerves to make your speech better. Actually, being a little nervous is a good thing. It makes you a lot more compelling. And I can tell you, there is nothing better than the exhilarating feeling of facing and conquering that fear of public speaking and getting that monkey off your back. All right, number two, become a better speaker at work. Like I mentioned, I was speaking all the time at work. And pretty much how it worked was I would do a PowerPoint, it'd be my slot at the event, and I'd say, okay, so these are the 3 things that we're working on. Let me advance that slide. Oh, yeah. And I'd basically read my PowerPoint slides. Oh my God, I wish I could go back and give speeches like I've learned to give at Toastmasters. How to prepare a speech, the beginning, the middle, and the end, the things that work, the things you want to cut, hand gestures, vocal variety, pausing, everything. My speeches would have been so much better. And let's face it, even if you don't really care about it, I can't think of too many things that are more valuable in a career anywhere than public speaking. You get invited to more events, you get known, your ideas are used, and it is an incredibly powerful tool. Okay, so number 3, become a better communicator in general. So maybe you're saying, yeah, I don't really care about it for work. My job doesn't do that, or maybe I'm not even working. Well, we all communicate. I think about when my wife and I were trying to decide, do we go to San Diego for our vacation or San Antonio? Now, I notice I didn't say that's a speech because it's not a speech. A speech is a one-way delivery, but it's a communication. And your ability to present your arguments in a clear way is important, but even more so, your ability to listen. We also do a lot of listening at Toastmasters. And I have just found that I'm a much more effective communicator since having Toastmasters. And I can tell you with young kids who are now teenage kids and in college kids, that's a very important skill. All right, number 4. This is something I never anticipated. So, like I said, I joined about 20 years ago. In fact, it was 20 years ago yesterday was my daughter was born. It was her 20th birthday yesterday. I joined about the same week that she was born. So, I was not looking for more friends. I was starting a family, I was starting a new career, and social life was the last thing I was even thinking of. But oh my God, it has paid off in spades, the number of friends that I've made at this club. We have this thing called Post Toasties where we go out. Some of us will go out after every meeting, get coffee, drinks, whatever, hang out, continue the conversation in a fun way. I've made so many great friends through Toastmasters and continue to make great friends. And as an example, I turned 50 a few years ago, and Toastmasters put on a show for me. We had an MC, they came and they gave speeches. It was incredible. And what was funny is there were 4 big tables at this venue in Albuquerque. And one of the tables was my family, relatives who'd flown in. Another table was high school and college friends. Another table is people I work with. There was one whole table full of Toastmasters people. And they were all the ones who got up and gave unbelievable speeches. And afterwards, various family and friends would come to me and say, maybe I need to join this Toastmasters if that's what it does to you all. And I would laugh and say, yeah, highly, highly recommend it. So, what is the fifth thing? Another thing I was not thinking about at all. I was just going to give my 10 speeches and be out of there. But I felt this just compelling desire to come back. And part of it I realized is it's your chance to help others. So, if you think about it, what I needed to get over my issues with speaking was an audience and a venue where I could get up and speak in front of an audience. And somebody's got to be that audience. And that's the other half of being in Toastmasters. You listen to speeches. We also have evaluators. So after every prepared speech, there is a 2 to 3 minute evaluation. And even then, a lot of times afterwards at post Toasties, some very senior speaker would pull me aside and say, that was good, but you could make it a lot better if you did this, this, or that. So it's a very supportive community. And that's meant a lot more to me than I even expected. So in closing, you may be asking, you may be thinking, yeah, I want to go, but is it the right club for me? I want to tell you, I've never seen any group, I'm not even calling it a club, any group that is more diverse than at least this club that I'm part of. When I was at work, I was giving speeches to people very much like me. A lot of clubs, you're dealing with people with same interests. Here, there is so much variety of everything. Speaking levels, we've had professional speakers who are on TV. We've had people who can barely get up and say 5 words without darting for the exit and everything in between. We've got young people, people in high school. We've got people who are much older and retired and everything in between. We have had every walk of life, profession, or retired, or not working, or you name it. So you get this really diverse group of people, and I have benefited a lot from that. And when you give a speech to a group like that, you get much better feedback and you can really see how it's working. All right, final steps. What do I do if I'm interested? Super easy. All you got to do, come to one of the meetings as a guest. No pressure. All you got to do is introduce yourself at the beginning, maybe say what drove you here. And then when you're done, we'll ask for any comments that you may have. And that's it. You can come for a few more times. And if you think it's right for you, great, join. If not, don't. Maybe another club is better for you, or maybe Toastmasters not at all. So I'm out of time now, but there were a lot of things I wanted to say. So if you come to one of our meetings, I would look forward to telling you in person. Madam Toastmaster. Thank you.